for Cinco de Mayo?
Nope.
I didn't.
You should go look. It's in your community.
You remember back
thread.
when I would start a show and you guys would shut the fuck up?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, but
I miss those days.
You shut up, Gerry.
yeah, but then you started bringing us on there in mid
Nothing's
conversation.
happening. Don't worry about starting the show.
It's now a thing.
I think it's
I was gonna say,
Mephisto's
I
fault.
thought-
Mephisto has spoiled everybody.
I thought it was common practice to talk over the thumbnails now.
I
At this
actually
moment,
like to be
yeah.
able to start the show with the video, and I'd got to sit and wait for a lull in the conversation. All right, happy Monday, everybody.
Cinco de Mayo even.
Oxymoron.
This is a big week. This is my endoscopic week. I will be going on Thursday. I'm not sure what mood I'm going to be on Wednesday.
Probably not in the mood for a show.
I will do a show Wednesday, but I'm probably not going to be super happy because I'm living off of broth and rice and little bits of protein here and there because basically they want you pooping water by Thursday.
Well,
So your colon is clear.
If you've never had to go through it, they give you this stuff to drink.
You're gonna have a real
drink a
break
ton
then.
of it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I have no clue.
No idea. It's like you got to fill this with water all the way up to right here.
Now, is this a
Give you
routine one or
lemon? This is my first because I was bitching at him.
really?
I'm like, I was supposed to have this when I turned 45. I am 61 this year, and you guys have not ordered one yet. And then they said, well, we'll fix that. And then I went, no, you really don't have to.
really don't mind. Yeah, I got my first.
I was just
50.
saying, I was just complaining that you guys don't do your jobs is all.
I got my first one at 50, and I've got to schedule another one this fall. So
I have
60.
to drink this Thursday between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m., 2-hour period. I got to drink half of this. And then the next morning, right before I go into the procedure, they want me to drink the remainder. And I got to tell you, I'm super not excited about this procedure.
I just decided I'm going to wait until I'm at least 50.
And by the way, Anima, I just want to say something. I'm aware what time it is in the morning. I would like to be able to take my shit in peace and not be told, it's such and such time. Don't forget we have a show today. Thank you, sweetheart.
8 to showtime, and I know you lose track of time.
I'm on the toilet trying to do my business.
Care.
And
I
you're
don't
like,
care.
we have a show. And I'm like, no kidding. Really? I had no idea.
God.
Okay, guys. 3 things. First, the word procedure isn't the word in Spanish is procedimiento. So it is. You remind me of the clip of "A la chingada el procedimiento."
There you go.
The other thing was I forgot, and the third thing was thank you. Now I have a picture of you in Saiyajin mode in the can. Thank you very much for that.
I forgot what show we were doing. That took him so long.
Like Ostein's pointed out, it's messing with Martin Monday.
And the thing, I remember the other thing. So you're gonna be breach for real.
Yeah. So I didn't get nervous until the doctor said that it's going to be an intimate thing that'll just be him and me, and I went, I don't know if I want to do this.
Scary.
No, it's going to be a regular procedure.
A la chingada el procedimiento. Gerry wants an audience. He doesn't want something intimate.
Yeah, right.
He wants media covering and everything.
Oh God.
So they're going to be. They're not going to use a general anesthetic on me. They're going to knock me out. They're going to give me that propofol, the same shit that killed Michael Jackson. By the way, if Michael Jackson had decided to have this procedure, and I'm sure he did, I am sure that what he made on the morning of his procedure would have made him be called Michael Jackson Pollock.
Oh, you're forcing my hand,
dude. Yeah, wow, that was a stretch, Gerry. I got to tell you.
Yes, messing with Martin Mondays. Good morning, John O'Staines. I looked at your wig again this morning because I keep it handy just in case if somebody pays me to put that thing back on. And I'm just reminded, God damn, my scalp gets itchy after I wear that for a few minutes. Oh. Good morning, Gambit. Who else here right now? It's John O'Staines and Gambit. All right. So we're going to be talking about a film that I saw when I was in London in '77. I saw it right off of, it's right off Piccadilly Circus, the movie theater. Same theater that I watched Islands in the Stream with George C. Scott. I saw a lot of movies when I was over there in Europe. And some of my favorites were this one, Bridge Too Far. I actually saw that in Dublin, Ireland. I saw, what was that movie with O.J. Simpson where they're on a train and a diseased monkey has become a break-in, has infected somebody on the train, and there's a chance they're going to have to kill everybody on the train in order to destroy any chance of this disease spreading. And oh my God, let me look it up. 1977 train action thriller. All right, let me look that up.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
No, me neither. Now,
Yeah.
I was watching our background, and you see the guy in black holding the machine gun in white. I mean,
Yeah.
looks like James Hong when he was young.
There were a lot of big names in this film.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Sir Ian Holm as the Arab leader that had brought all the different tribes together to fight the French.
Talk about British washing.
Plus, you had Gene Hackman. My God, Gene Hackman is so good in this film, and you can, his military discipline comes through in a lot of his performances. Hey, Vince Womack, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. So many movies came out in '77, man. You had, of course, Star Wars. You had A Bridge Too Far, which I told you I saw in Dublin, Ireland. The Duelist, which I didn't see until I came to the United States. And I actually saw it for the first time on VHS. The Spy Who Loved Me came out that year. Smokey and the Bandit. Rolling Thunder, which we've done on Military
Rolling Thunder is one of the most underrated movies ever.
Absolutely. I love that fucking movie.
Yep.
Wizards by Ralph Bakshi, which I love that fucking movie. I used to draw that guy on his little bird camel, whatever the fuck that was.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Clint Eastwood's The Gauntlet, which is a fun but terrible movie.
It's a terrible movie, but it's
the
a sick,
Gauntlet itself makes
pleasure,
no
isn't
sense.
it?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's so illogical, the idea that they're going to have cops in a line shooting at each other with a bus in between.
It's crazy. But that's probably the best his girlfriend ever looked at in a movie. Those hip hugger jeans really did her well.
Oh,
they really did.
Sandra, I never could stand her. She always looked weird to me.
Yeah, but she looked great in that movie. That's all I'm saying.
Black Sunday came out.
Mm-hmm.
Orca, which was the an attempt to recapture Jaws.
Yeah.
With Richard Harris, Charlotte Rampling, and Bo Derek.
Bo Derek was in that one. Yeah, she lost a leg in that movie, didn't she? I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then the movie Telethon came out with Charles Bronson, Donald Pleasance, very good film, where somebody was triggering sleeper agents by making phone calls and triggering them by saying the code word. And the movie Roller Coaster came out, which is a movie that somewhere in there, myself and my football team are in there because we were there for the day they shot it.
Really?
At King's Dominion. Wow. Another classic we just talked about a few weeks back is Damnation Alley. And this is the movie I couldn't think of. I saw this off Leicester Square in London. There was a movie theater right off the square called The Cassandra Crossing, starring Sophia Loren, Richard Harris, Martin Sheen, and O.J. Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
Ron Howard's first directorial venture, Grand Theft Auto.
Wasn't Mark Hamill in that, I think?
No, it's Clint Howard and Mark Hamill. I mean, Ron Howard and Marion Ross, who plays his mom on Happy Days.
It was Corvette Summer I'm thinking of with Mark Hamill. That's what it was.
Airport 77, which is a movie I made the mistake of watching right before flying to Europe. My dad asked me, like, why do you want to go see some of these movies right before we do something? And another really good film with Richard Johnson, Beau Bridges. I don't consider it the best version, but it is a good film, The Four Feathers. We've talked about it on here, and the version I prefer is actually the original black and white film. I prefer that, and I think it's Douglas Fairbanks Jr. in it. Hope, where are you?
Are you at work, bro? What's up?
Do you still have a job?
Hey,
when
Paul,
are we getting you back?
I'm sending you an invite via email, so get ready for it.
Also, be careful, Pope. If there are any images attached to his email, do not open them. They're just awful. What he sends out to people.
You're ruining the surprise.
Bill Barkley's here too. What's up, buddy? So, anyway, this was a very good year for movies, 1977. Not as good as 82 or 84 or 87, but 77 still had some massive movies, including, of course, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Snort's here. What's up, brother?
Hi, Snorty.
Hello. So you will see here in this image that is, I didn't even actually know that artist's name, but he's done quite a few European. This is the same artist who did the Raiders of the Lost Ark in Europe posters. And I always forget his name. He's also known for doing book covers. But the film posters that I loved with this one were painted or drawn by Drew Struzan. This is back in the early days. This is one of the comps that he did for the film.
Nice. You can always tell his stuff. I do this to this day. That thick line he puts all the way around it. You can always tell his stuff by that. I do it myself when I do certain pictures.
We are being joined.
Now I'm going to point out that one of the things. Oh, Pope Metallicus,
the only Pope that exists right now.
That's right.
You're back.
That's right.
That's right.
How you doing, guys?
Good morning, my friend.
Good.
Very happy to have you here.
And we're talking about a movie starring a fellow Marine, Gene Hackman, whom I'm still disturbed at how we lost him and his wife.
Yeah,
it's
that
so
was
disturbing.
Such a weird circumstance.
There's no excuse for
pretty far gone.
him being left alone like that.
Well, that's part of the reason
it's
why I
almost
went and
good.
got my mother in Maine, dude. I mean, you know, I just did her medications this morning. You know, did her little caddy up for the week and everything. I mean, yeah, they've
Yeah.
got to be taken care of at that age.
You
It's
got to
just-
take care of them. You got to be there.
Yep.
3 kids and nobody checked on them for
Unbelievable.
weeks. Unacceptable, man.
Hmm.
We got all our balls of shit we got to roll. Fuck you. You
Yeah.
check on your parents.
That's it.
You only have them for a while.
That's it.
Christ, he
I'm
was
blessed to
already
have mine still
diagnosed-
alive, you know?
Yeah,
So,
he was already diagnosed with dementia. They should be wanting to check on him.
Right.
I fucking can't believe that shit. So anyway, this is one of the compositions that were done for the poster. But they ended up going with this painting, which I really like.
mm-hmm.
And I'm going to point out that he was one of the few artists to adopt the J.C. Leyendecker artwork style, which is the hard lines. You see the hard brush strokes for lighting on faces and stuff. This is something he started doing in the 70s that got him a lot of work because Leyendecker was a great fucking artist. Go look up his name. It's J.C. Leyendecker. And he was best known and most beloved for the artwork he did for Arrow shirts. And I got to tell you, man, I love Leyendecker's artwork. And Drew replicated that. You can see it in the bottom left of the flag there, and at the top left of the flag, you see those highlights that are done. And what it is, it's negative space. He uses a style called negative space. It's where it's not the highlights that he's painting in. He's painting in the negative, the dark, to give you what looks like painted on highlights, and it's not. It's a trick. Now he does do the highlights with the and by the way, this is before he started using color pencils all the time for hair and face highlights. A lot of people don't know that he used white and light colored pencils to do highlights on faces because he couldn't get the brush accurate enough because I've done this too. I would whittle the brush down to probably 4 hairs.
Yeah.
In order to get those fine lines. And he found out that you can accomplish the exact same thing using a white or light colored, cream colored colored pencil. And it's a beautiful piece. This is the original French Gaumont Productions, of course, is the distributor in Europe. And this was the cover of the novelization. They used Drew Struzan's artwork for that too. And I think this is a great poster.
Yeah, the guy's artwork definitely influenced me. Like I said, I use that heavy border around a lot of stuff I do. Yep.
Yes. And he told me, and I've shown this email to Martin, I think I showed it to Anima, the letter from Drew Struzan that he considered me one of the true heirs of his style.
Yep.
Because I can emulate it perfectly. And he always liked that because his Christmas gift I made him that painting of Doctor Who, of what was it, Doctor Who for the holidays. And I did a perfect replication of his artistic style. And I sent that to him and Dylan for Christmas one year. So great weapons in this, by the way. What's that?
That portrait you did that I love so much of William Shatner's Kirk from the 60s is dynamite, and it's got that style to it.
It's very similar to the same style because he said it in that email. He says, nobody really quite understands what I'm doing with my border lines and highlights, and you actually nail it. And I'm like, that's because I lived and breathed your artwork for 20 years before I emulated it. And he always loved and always joked that I was considered a Drew Struzan aficionado. So much so that even if his name isn't on it, because his signature changed in the 80s. Originally, he would do a square with his weird looking S in it for Struzan. And it's on this painting, in fact. in the bottom left corner of that painting, see that little thing right above the flagpole?
Yep.
That's the S signature that he used to have. And he was his way of hiding his signature until it was put into his contracts that he was allowed, and that started in the 80s. After Star Wars and Raiders, he became so popular that he was allowed to sign his signature on posters. That was something no other artist was allowed to do in the history of movie posters. You had Brown, who did all those great movie posters from Ben-Hur, the Ten Commandments. He worked a lot for Universal. He did the Creature from the Black Lagoon movie posters. Brown was an amazing artist and wasn't allowed to sign any of his paintings. But you knew his artwork. I could spot his artwork. But Drew is also very specific in how he does things. And the earliest poster I found of his was Empire of the Ants, where it's a painting of a giant ant in a tree holding a woman. Classic monster holding a woman pose. But this one's between the pinchers. And
wow.
I went to him and I said, I think this is the first poster I've seen. He goes, it is not my first poster, but it was very early. And good eye, Gerry. Good eye. You spotted one of my posters again that I didn't sign because I know his fucking style. And you can actually spot artists by their style if you become good enough. Like this guy here, I know this guy. And like I said, I can't remember his name, but he did the Raiders of the Lost Ark poster for the European release. And it's a really cool poster. In this one, this is your classic French Foreign Legion image. Even though it doesn't show any of the actors, it still gives you the general idea of we're surrounded, outnumbered, and we will fight to the death.
It's one of the reasons I've always loved the French Foreign Legion is they have a similar attitude to the Marine Corps of we may be surrounded and outnumbered. Our expectations of victory are unchanged.
Yeah. They're going to fight to the death. The name of the film is actually a part of the credo, March or Die. And that is in the French Foreign Legion credo. I regret it because I had a lot of friends who were in the French Foreign Legion that wanted me to join. And I was sick of America and I was pissed because of something that happened at the end of the first Gulf War where we didn't finish something.
Yep.
And I refused to vote for that president again because of it.
I refused to vote for that president because he bored the shit out of me.
That was George Herbert Bush.
Yeah, senior.
And one thing I've said about him, either he was a fucking liar and didn't deserve to be president, or he was a fucking buffoon and didn't deserve to be president. And I'm referring to the fact that he made denials of knowing about the Contra rebel trade that what's his name, Ollie North did. And I'm like, you're the former head of the CIA, which means you're never detached from the CIA until you die. And so that means either you're a liar or you're a complete idiot. And either one means you didn't deserve the office. So not a fan of George Herbert Bush.
No.
Though I did enjoy it when he vomited on the Japanese premiere. Does anybody remember that?
That was an entertaining moment.
Oh my fucking God, man. He's like, you've got all these places you could turn and throw up, and you chose the wrong one.
On the Prime Minister of Japan. It's like the rumors when Biden apparently basically shat his pants in front of Camilla.
Yeah.
It's like
I think it's so fucking funny.
One of our closest allies, and the president just shat his pants in front of her. Awesome.
Yeah,
I've always wanted to find that video, and right at the end, right when he throws up, putting Cartman yelling, "Beefcake!"
That's wrong, man.
Oh, God, yeah, it's so fucked up. So, we're gonna go ahead and start the video now, slideshow. So, if you've, by the way, once again, if you've never seen J.C. Leindecker's art, let me put it in the public chat how to spell his name. Let me hold me a second to type this. And there we go. J.C. Leindecker. Go copy and paste that and go to Google and then look at the paintings. He was known for doing very masculine, manly ads of men with arrow shirts with the pleated blunt collars that looked so good back in the 20s and 30s.
Hey, man.
Hey, Mephisto. Good morning, buddy.
Hi, Matt.
Yeah, I was just talking about you this morning. Were your ears burning? I mentioned that everybody just acts like we're not starting a show. They just keep talking as we go live, and I'm like, we owe that all to Mephisto.
We've been doing that before.
Nothing like after him, man. Just I gotta wait for a lull in the conversation so I can start the fucking show. That or was it your penis that was burning? Because that's actually an STD. You might want to get checked.
He's a medic. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. By the way, as a medic, worst thing that ever happened to me, I'm awakened in the morning by a guy standing next to my bunk whipping his dick out at me.
That is unsurprising.
And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm jumping back against the wall, like, because I had a private room. Each one of us medics, leaders, had our own fucking bunk at a wall, a corner. So we had four of us in the junior leader room. You know what those rooms are. That's for your squad leaders. And we had a separate room from everybody, man. And boy, oh boy, whipped that dick out at me. I'm like, buy me dinner first, motherfucker. I can whip that shit out and expect me to do something. So it's just supposed to look, is that normal? I went, no, you got a fucking yeast infection. Wash your fucking dick.
Hello.
Dry it off. Keep it dry.
But all they want is to get it wet.
Yeah, I told Vince, I made that comment when I went to find out if the Marines had their own hospital corpsman, if they still use Navy hospital corpsman. Because as a kid, I knew that because of comedian Mike Warnke. But I thought maybe it's changed. No, Marines don't have their own medics.
We'll never have our own medics. We will always use the Navy corpsman because, especially when it comes to the...
You have secretaries, receptionists, typists, but you can't have your own medics? Come on, man.
Dude, I'm not okay with making those admin Fox Marines either.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love it when they get told.
To be fair, I'm of the opinion
prepare to repel enemy. Pick up your weapon. But I'm a receptionist. You're a Marine first.
Yeah, it's like, not no more. You're not. You're a fucking grunt like the rest of us.
You took those 10 weeks of training. Pick up your fucking weapon.
And you know
By
what?
the way, I like in this film, they aren't told to fix bayonets. They just know.
Yeah, it's like, well,
as they're coming at,
it's that time, and just attach it into your weapon. Like, we're low on ammo, so better make it count.
Well, I thought it was neat in this opening scene that they started singing the anthem with those guys
and
marching by.
Snorty, we are also using Navy chaplains.
That's okay. That's good. Yeah, because I wouldn't want a Marine chaplain.
the moral compass of a Marine chaplain would be rather dubious.
Fucked up, man. Because he'd be up there going, that's when Jesus had enough of that fucking shit.
and the Lord commanded us to smite that town, so we hit it with napalm.
Right.
Sanctum Christi Bellemondo. Now fuck off.
God, the Marines really are the mobile infantry from Starship Troopers.
And the only group that comes close to him is the U.S. Army's infantry.
Yeah.
Especially, because Marine Recon is basically the Marines Special Forces. And
we do have the Raiders again now. At least for now.
That's good.
Before we get disbanded again.
The Lord smiled upon the naughty and smote ass.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Get thee the holy hand grenade.
I mean, if you gave Marines a chaplain, we would absolutely have a holy hand grenade.
Well, I'll tell you right now, the Marines, while the Army would be reading the instruction, the Marine would just grab it and pull the pin and throw it. He wouldn't think about it. Just do it.
Well, as part of the infantry manual, our tactics for room clearing include throwing a frag grenade in the room first.
Well, yeah.
Yes, he did, Vince.
Oh, yeah.
He did. Jesus said that when he comes back, he will come. Well, he brought it up in right before the Beatitudes. He talked about how family members and friends he will be the sword between family and friends. Which is, when you look at it, what it means is you will see people over faith take up arms against their own family, emotional arms. By the way, this guy's an amazing actor. That dude right there, I fucking love him in this movie. Hardly speaks at all. The only time you ever really see him speak is when he's shouting orders or in that scene right before the fucking battle, where he keeps turning and asking the major, please, major, please. He's begging him, please give the men an order, because they're all standing there not sure what the fuck they're supposed to do.
Right.
And he's just watching what's happening. And really, I think what he's doing is weighing everything that has brought him to this fucking moment. Because his character used to be in the U.S. Army in the story. In real life, Gene Hackman, of course, was a Marine. He jokingly referred to himself as a terrible Marine. But I'm going to tell you something. I can't remember if he was a senior cadre or what he was. But one of his former commanders, either NCO or command, walked past him at a hotel, the Marriott in New York, where he was standing at the door, greeting people and letting him in, still wearing a uniform of sorts. And this Marine turned and looked at me. He says, Hackman, you still look like crap in a uniform. So when you make enough of an impact on one of your seniors that they remember you years later in a city far, far away from where you served together, you have made an impact on somebody. So that's all I got to say about Gene Hackman. And I fucking love the guy.
Yeah.
Although he himself admits he was a pretty piss poor Marine.
He did. No, I've read every interview with him. And anytime he gets brought up, he goes, I was not a very good Marine. I was undisciplined. I was rowdy.
But that's what makes him a good Marine.
That's what I think.
Undisciplined and rowdy is we like him.
Now, I want to point out to you, here's one of my other favorite actors is Max von Sydow.
My favorite villain of all time.
Absolutely. He's also great. And look, man, this guy came out in the 50s working with Ingmar Bergman. Then came to America when he did the film Hawaii, which is like a 4-hour Mishner movie.
Mm-hmm.
It has in between, it has a fucking break, intermission. It's a long film. It got panned by critics, but I actually really liked that film. And I loved him. He was a Christian missionary going to Hawaii, and they talk about the leper colonies in Hawaii, because that's what the story's kind of surrounding. It's not about it, but it surrounds it, because it's a very important part of the movie. Jack O'Halloran, I fucking love Jack.
Yes.
And he plays the Russian, the Cossack in this.
And did you notice we have the indie and Band of Brother German Wolf Collar is It's one
Yeah,
of the Germans
I
that
did notice
joins
that.
the court.
Also,
tall, skinny guy.
the Frenchman who played Indy's best friend in the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles during World War One. He's in this as well. He plays the musician. He plays the musician who ends up hanging himself.
Oh, is that him?
That's the actor that played Indy's best friend in the trenches. His battle boo.
It's Battle Boo. It's Battle Bro.
Because I hated in the military the battle buddy. So when I saw Navy SEALs, I'm like, battle boo. Why didn't we have that when I was in? That is so much better than battle buddy. It just sounds so gay.
I prefer the 40K Battle Brother.
I like Battle Brother too.
Because Space Marines are awesome.
Yep. Yeah, the Marines are always good. You've got in any science fiction, Colonial Marines.
Yeah. Well, then you have the Space Marines from 40K, which are genetically modified superhumans with a 20mm autocannon and a chainsword.
Yep. By the way, it is before Jesus of Nazareth and the Passion. That was my favorite story of Jesus film. I always loved that. But it also has one of the worst scenes in it because it was an all-star cast. That's the one, as I recall, that has John Wayne as the Roman centurion. This man truly is the Son of God.
That's right.
I'm like, what the fuck was up with that?
See, John Wayne is don't get me wrong, I love the man and I love a lot of his movies, but John Wayne is incapable of portraying any character other than John Wayne.
Yeah, the closest that he comes to it is, which I think it's a variation of who he is like in The Searchers, because that's a dark fucking character.
Yeah,
Rooster Cogburn in True Grit. This is where he's playing against type.
Yeah,
and that's why these are films where he really had to fucking act. And The Searchers is the single best performance he ever gave in a film.
and then of course you have the.
By the way, this character,
the iconic performance of him playing Genghis Khan.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, he hated that movie. He didn't want to do it.
And the rest of us did too.
It's such a racist film. It's racist because once again, they had this thing where they wanted to put white guys in makeup and have them play other cultures, and it's really fucking rude when you do that. Yo, all you Romans, circle the wagons. Yeah. Well, here's a joke I made one time that got me into a fist fight. I didn't make the joke. Michael Beatty did. We were at the Beehive Disco dance club, which was attached to Pizza Hut in Fredericksburg. It's still there. I showed it to Anima one day doing the Google Street. I said, that was the dance club. It's right next to the Pizza Hut, and you had to go. They wouldn't let you in the main door. You had to go through the Pizza Hut to go into this club. And there were some Marines sitting at the table adjacent to us. And Mike was just in one of his fucking moods. When he got drunk, he got kind of goofy. And he turns around, he goes, hey, look, Jarhead's in a concentric circle. Do you guys even know what that is? Did the Marine Corps even know how to circle wagons? And I'm like, Mike, shut up.
Don't antagonize the Marines. We're violent enough.
And he's like, and I tell people that for exactly 45 seconds, we beat those Marines. And what I mean is,
and then the second one stood up.
Them off. We beat the shit out of them for 45 seconds until we got in that truck and locked the doors and then drove out of there. We were doing 60 from the back of the parking lot to the exit, and we went out like a Dukes of Hazzard, fucking spinning out of that fucking parking lot. To get away from
I'm sure Joe has some interesting stories of the Army interacting with the Marines in such fashion.
Oh, no, I tell you, buddy, the military police corps, you think you're going to do police work, and then you find out we get there, and the first day in basic training, he says, yeah, you guys thought you were going to wear white gloves and all that good stuff and direct traffic and all that shit. And guess what? Your MOS is 60% combat oriented now. So, I mean, I did I did maybe in the 3 years that I was a military policeman, I probably did about 5 months of police work, and that was it. And the
probably
only
after that
bar
is-
fight I had to ever bust up was between Army guys. There was no Marines.
Yeah.
So it was on Hood. I did most of my police work on Hood. Because by the time I left Hood, I was on Johnson Island and I was doing talk access, man. I was doing security, and then
talk for you guys is the Tactical Operations Center, TOC.
Yeah.
Talk.
Mm-hmm.
I have
a lot of people don't know the words we use, like FOB.
I'm sorry, I do need to explain the acronyms, but
civilians don't understand. You say FOB and they think like the key thing. What? No.
Well, one of my
forward observation base.
Yeah.
One of my neighbors is actually a former submariner on a boomer. And
wow.
We were talking a couple of times, and he got voluntold to be the security check when they're checking out the nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
And you know who guards those.
Yeah.
Marines.
Marines
used to have the security details on ships too, but
they've apparently done away with that and gone with bosun's mates for that.
Which I think is weird because
a lot of it's civilian now,
that's
guys.
why I want guarding secure areas on ships. That should be guarded by Marines.
Marines with shotguns. Should terrify everyone.
Okay, look, I've been trying to get back to this movie. So this scene, I paused for a fucking reason, and I don't want to pause for very long. This scene is showing how broken he has become, that he can only sleep with certain kinds of women now, and he has to have prostitutes, and he wants a specific look from them. And you learn this, that look, man, this guy has got PTSD up the fucking ass.
He also likes
and
to talk
it really
and bores the shit out of the prostitute there.
Yeah, because they're thinking we're gonna fuck. No, I'm just gonna talk about a bunch of shit that bugs me. You're French and you don't know what I'm fucking saying, and that's where he finds a lot of comfort.
So, like the guy in Airplane, he talks.
Surely you're not serious.
Yes, I'm serious. And stop calling me
Can we
Shirley.
please not talk about that fucking movie?
Forward observation base is what we call them in the Army.
No, I mean, he's right. It's forward operation base. No. Anyway.
Oh, that not when I was in.
We would call that an OP, an observation post. It would basically
observation.
It would basically be like a forward position where
it's like if you go out the front, you're going outside the wire.
Yeah, I mean, like we have forward operation base and then a COP, which is a combat outpost.
Yeah, Army, it's not too different, but like the one in Mosul, it was one of what's his name, the former leader of Iraq,
Saddam Hussein.
Saddam Hussein's
Saddam
that they used there in Mosul, and basically, I forget that it's not FOB Liberty. Is that what the name of it? It's I wrote about it in that screenplay that Dale Dye worked with me on, and
I think it is Liberty that was in Mosul.
It seems like it was Liberty, and the thing that's interesting, and I put it in the script, is that the main character of the story had earlier that morning picked a rose from Saddam Hussein's rose garden in his palace. They had just opened, they had bloomed. And he picked it and put it in his pocket. And at the end of this battle, with all the gore of that day, 2 500-pound IEDs went off, killing and maiming, killing about 100 people and maiming thousands. And they fight this battle to retake the police station and the mosque, because they had taken those 2 buildings, and the entire country was in lockdown after the bombings on June 4th of 2004, and complete lockdown. The only unit that went out was the 72nd Stryker Brigade, and they had to go out there and take back this street from the insurgents, and they had set off these bombs, like I said, and it was the first time I refer to it in the story as the Tet Offensive of the Iraq War, because for the first time, the insurgency targeted the Iraqi people.
Yeah, people don't talk
Instead of
about
America.
that. They talk about, them coming after us and all that, but they don't talk about how much the insurgency targeted the Iraqi population.
And what they were trying to do is to whip them into line.
Yeah.
Because what happened, it was so rough that day, is they had a line that went around the block for men trying to get work. These are guys that had just gotten kicked out of the military because of our brilliant fucking leaders fired the military.
Yeah.
And basically single-handedly created the future insurgency. Because the insurgency up to that point were Iranians and Syrians. After that, it was Iraqis in the insurgency. They were being commanded by others. But it's a fucked up situation. So anyway, I don't want to digress too much. But that day, that fob was the one that went out. Everybody else in that country was in lockdown, except for the 72nd Stryker Brigade. They went out, and they were the ones, they were experimental. You found out about them later with the Rangers that went out, and they were famous. They have a YouTube channel for their strikers and how they would show up on scene and just scare the shit out of the enemy because those strikers are so quiet, But this was, the 72nd was a secret, U.S. Army secret, because they didn't know if those strikers would work. And all the Stryker is because the Marine Corps has the LAV-1, and the Stryker is nothing more than the LAV-2 made by General Dynamics. And it is almost twice the size of the LAV-1, which is used by the Marine Corps.
Actually, I've seen them side by side. The LAV and the Stryker are about the same.
Trust me, no, it is bigger. They specifically made it bigger for a reason. But what they found out when they brought the Stryker in is it was quickly hit by IEDs and RPGs, and so they had to figure out how to do it. And they created what's referred to as slat armor, and it's like a metal.
It literally looks like a bird cage.
It looks like slats from a fucking Venetian blind that are around this thing. And what it did is it broke up explosives. Shrapnel is what it was designed to do.
It's trying to detonate heat warheads away from the actual hull. Because
the hull will take so much, but eventually it can't take a lot.
That basically gets forced into a projectile and will burn through the armor. So what you want to do is detonate that before it gets there. And so when you detonate it, like say in the case of the Stryker, about 6 inches away from the actual hull, it keeps
it away from it and breaks up the explosion. Ariel Bella says, Gary, stop bad-mouthing our government. Our government has done nothing wrong in the history of history. Our government is always right. And when it is wrong, remember, it's still always right.
But I don't know one person that's ever served in the military that trusts their own government. I don't know one of them.
We all that during the pandemic a couple of times. Like, oh, well, you're a former Marine. Like, don't you trust the government? I'm like, hell no. I used to work for them.
Right?
I know. Well, I got to tell you, if you like truckers, if the military isn't bitching, they're not doing their fucking jobs right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When the Marines stop complaining, that's when the real problems start.
Yeah, and this goes for anybody who is in infantry. Hurry up and wait.
Mm-hmm.
Got to get there. Got to get there now. Get there now. Okay, we're here. Everybody, chill out. Sit down. Smoke if you got them. And then you're like, you had to get there quick, but then you're like around for sitting for hours. And that Battle of Mosul, it was 8-hour long battle with probably about 45 minutes to an hour and a half of actual combat. The rest of us sitting there going, do you think they're still up there? Hey, stick your head up out of the air guard hatch. See if they shoot at you. Because as a Marine, if you've been in LAV, they had the air guard hatch on there too. That's the very back top hatches on the back of an LAV. They they have hinged. They open outward on the back, not on the very back. Like I'm talking about on top, where they hatch open up, and those are called the air guard hatches. And it led to some funny stuff in our script because when the sniper tries to kill the medic trying to deliver water to all the guys, the sniper's shooting at him, and he's serpentined, trying to avoid getting shot. And he jumps into the back of that rig. And in real life, he did not fire back at the sniper. And I said, no, that's a missed opportunity. This just shows how you're not funny and I am.
Aerial ballet,
said,
I haven't done it yet, but it's one of those, it's in the works. Like it hasn't been approved yet, but it's going to happen.
During services. Oh, okay. So in the script, and Dale liked that. He kept it in where the medic pokes his head back up there with his M4 and fires up at the minaret where the sniper is and just nailing all around the guy. So the guy has to duck and yells at him, not so funny or not so fucking funny when it's you, bitch.
Yep. Sounds about right.
And I wrote that in. I said that was a missed opportunity for a good moment of humor. And in fact, I did keep one of the scenes in there that happened in real life because all of the strikers in that unit had the, I forget the name of the system. It connects to the FB-CD2 system. And it allows you to robotically aim that 50 anywhere on that.
Yeah, the crow system.
Yeah,
we didn't get until after I was out of the Marine Corps.
Marine Corps doesn't get shit until it's handed down.
Like the Army had it in like 2003.
That's because you got hand-me-downs. The Marine Corps is the tip of the spear, but gets secondhand shit from the Army. You guys in Vietnam were using 1950s flak jackets from the Army.
For the first few years of the conflict, at least M14s.
M14s because the U.S. Army rejected them because they're too heavy.
Yeah,
so the Marine Corps got all those M14s.
We don't care. We'll take them.
Yeah, we don't care. I know. It's like, man, I know my history of the Marine Corps and what the hand-me-downs they got. They got fucked all the time.
Well, so my favorite story with that is after Chosin Reservoir in Korea, when we got caught painting over Army serial numbers on the Pershings because we didn't have any. So we evacuated a lot. We drug back a lot of the Army tanks and got caught spray painting over the Army serial numbers with Marine Corps ones.
Well, you know that the rule in the military is equipped by equipped by procreation.
Yeah,
that means if somebody leaves something unlocked, take it.
Yeah, it's just like you left them behind. These are ours now.
You left your cage unlocked. I'm taking your gear.
Yep, gear adrift.
And we used to do that all the time in the Army, just stealing shit from other teams and platoons because they left shit unlocked.
The funny part is like I heard a recruiter say like, "Oh, Marines do not lie, cheat, or steal." I'm like, "What Marine Corps do you work for?"
Yeah. Some of these guys look like Indiana Jones villains. Well, there's one guy in here that was an actor that was in one. It was either Star Wars or Indiana Jones.
Indiana.
He plays. And by the way, Anima is like confused by this because you see all these guys that were previously enemy. And they're now prisoners of war from the front. Enemy soldiers. And now because the French Foreign Legion will take you from anywhere.
Yeah.
And so you've got guys in this platoon, in this group, that are Germans.
Yep.
Joining in. And the amazing thing of how because all your orders are given to you in French. And it's called the Foreign Legion because there are no Frenchmen in the French Foreign Legion. And if you're French, you go in
the of French officers.
The officers, I don't know. From what I understand, they rank up from within, and they all speak fluent French. The reason why is because they want you to learn French, because a lot of times they had to support the French military.
Oh yeah,
and they were kind of the Marine Corps of France, but what made them so amazing is these guys were dangerous when they went in, and they became even more dangerous. A lot of them were fucking criminals. And
that's the reputation the Foreign Legion's always had, is most of these guys should be in prison.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the ticket out, because if they survive, they become French citizens under a new name.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
basically,
because people misunderstand that. They go, oh, you get a whole new name. No, you get a new French name. And you get a French passport with that new French name. And you become a citizen of France. You have earned the right to be a citizen of France once you finish your tour of duty with the Foreign Legion.
And Ariel, as far as I know, the French Foreign Legion still exists.
Oh, yeah, it absolutely still exists. I've met a lot of those fucking guys and played cards with them in the Army. And I love those guys. And they were the ones who tried to talk me into going when things went south for me with my, I went through a bad marriage and a custody thing that just went south for me. And I didn't know what to do. And I got depressed. And so if not for my dad, I would have gone into the French Foreign Legion, because I'm like, I like the military. I like it a lot. I like being in the military, and the harder, the better. The more difficult, the better for me. I like the challenge, the daily challenge. And I wanted to be a medic still. And I know they still have medics in the French Foreign Legion. And so it was something I looked forward to doing. And then my dad talked me out of it. And it's a kind of a regret, but also not a regret. Like, I didn't get to go in the Marine Corps because they don't have medics. And with the promise of only a 20% chance of being attached to a Marine unit, that wasn't good enough for me to be in the Navy. I was like, fuck, no, I don't want to.
Only like the top fifth of corpsmen ever serve as an FMF unit.
I probably would have been in that top fifth because I was always number one in my class, top of my class. I was top PT, top with my skill set, top with my grades. And I was number one in my company.
The thing they don't talk about enough is guys who actually serve with the Marine Corps actually have trouble integrating back into the Navy. Like when they get rotated back to a normal hospital corpsman, because they get so used to dealing with grunts all the time. It's like, I think the Navy just looks at us like, what happened? He was so nice and polite when we gave him to you. Now he just swears a lot and drinks all the time.
Right. By the way, I want to bring up the two blue-eyed Italian actors that were just beautiful-looking men, is Terence Hill and Franco Nero. And they were contemporaries. They worked the same time. And they look a lot alike. One's blonde and the other one's brown-haired. And you all know Franco Nero because he was the one that ran the French hotel in John Wick 4. And that's Franco Nero. And Terence Hill is still alive. Both actors are.
Wasn't Franco Nero also in a lot of the Italian westerns?
Both of them were.
Oh, yeah.
Both of them were. Terence Hill, though, became the bigger star because he did the Nobody films.
Yeah, the Nobody films is what I remember him from. Him slapping the shit out of that guy in that one scene with
like
the pistol.
Taking the guy's pistol, slapping it, putting his pistol back in before he could draw.
One of the greatest clips ever,
fucking
man.
Funny.
Yeah.
I love Terence Hill. Him and Bud, always forgot his name.
Spencer.
God, I love the two of those together. And and this film was his first real chance to work in a semi Western, Western being England and America, because this was both American and English, as well as French, because the French distribution was by Gaumont. But Sir Lou Grade was the executive producer on this. You know him from The Muppets, from anything by Gerry Anderson, Space 1999, UFO, all that shit. That was Lou Grade. He worked on so many films and TV shows, and he was the executive producer on this film. He got them all their money. The budget they had was because of Lou Grade. Very pretty. And no, I'm going to tell you something, man. If I swung that way, yeah, Terence Hill.
I can't believe he looked so young in this. He was 38 when he
Good looking guy.
He was 38 and he looked like he was in his 20s. And he still looks young. I mean, if you see Franco Nero today, and he's younger than Terence Hill, because like what I think Nero is like 81, 82, and Terence Hill's 86. Fucking looks great. He looks like he's in his 50s. It's incredible. This guy, just great fucking actor, very physical actor. Great with comedy.
Sounds like my grandfather. He looked like he was 40 when he was 30, and he also looked like he was 60 when he was 80.
Yeah, I didn't start looking old until I was about 50, because I still got carded going into my 40s, and it was annoying because I had that boyish fucking shaped face. So popped in. Oh, hi.
Palm Springs. I have recollections of that area being 29 Palms.
I always like Palm Springs.
I went through Mojave
area of the desert.
I hate that area.
They worked directly with the UN during the first Gulf War, and that's how I met some of the French Foreign Legion.
Yeah, they got hired out by the UN for a lot of stuff in Africa because the UN troops couldn't.
By the way, it was during the first Gulf War that an argument started between me and a French Foreign Legionnaire that I stayed friends with for years, that each one of us claimed ownership of the insult cock pilot.
Yikes.
Because we would call guys cock pilots if they're idiots. And I said, I take ownership of it because before you said it, I would refer to people as USDA prime choice cock pilots. And he goes, well, fuck you. I'm like, whatever. Like,
that sounds very French.
Yeah. He's the coq pilot. Now that's Ian Holm. You know him as Ash from Alien. He was the Belgian adventurer who meets Greystoke, Tarzan, in the movie Greystoke, the story of Tarzan.
And if I remember correctly, he's also Bilbo Baggins in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that guy was in so much. Ian Holm. One of my favorite films with him is The King's. It's in Henry V that came out in '89 with Kenneth Branagh. He plays the king's, the person that consults with the king on private matters, personal matters. And there he is again. This guy is just so fucking good in this movie. This guy on the left, just so fucking good. Piercing eyes. Always there, right next to him, always quiet. Terence Hill's character saves him in a fight, which I think actually pisses him off. He thinks he helped him, and the Frenchman's like, I had that. I didn't need your help. On the ship.
On the boat?
Yeah. Because he ends up stabbing this other guy and probably killing him. And then he tries to knife him, and he's about to probably disarm him. But Terence Hill kicks the knife out of his hand, and then the French officer or sergeant throws this guy overboard. I said, so yeah, he killed him. Even if he survived the fall into the ocean, he probably did. That guy is going to die out there in the middle of the fucking ocean. Hey, Idaho Mike. He is second cousin. I think it's second cousin, stepbrother, former roommate to Indiana Jones. Meaning they have no relation. It's baseball. Shout at the Devil's a film we're going to be doing, Snort. I love that movie. Day After Tomorrow. I like that film, and yet I don't like it. It's one of those films that, like, is so annoying that I like it.
Why?
Day After Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Was that the climate change movie with Dennis Quaid?
With the sudden ice age thing.
Right.
That movie came out. Do you know why it got panned by critics? It didn't follow global warming.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking The Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise because I love that.
it was.
I love that movie.
It's loosely based on that book that Art Bell wrote with that global climatologist, The Coming Global Superstorm. That's credited in the credits. That's part of the plot. But
By the
in
way,
that
Dare
book,
you?
yeah, right. In that book, it takes decades for it to happen. It happens in a week in that movie.
This is really the first time they've got their uniforms and they're actually in the military, because they weren't in they were conscripted to the French Foreign Legion, but they weren't legionnaires. That's why they were able to walk around in their street clothes and their previous uniforms for the military. They're in as World War I ended. Yeah, he played Ash in Alien Gambit. And Shout at the Devil is absolutely one of my favorite films, with Lee Marvin and Roger Moore both in it. I love that movie.
But Lee Marvin in anything is just great.
And by the way, Idaho Mike, I hope you enjoy the channel. I hope you choose to subscribe and come back and visit, especially on Military Mondays, because these are our most watched shows on the channel. Is Military Monday. And like one of the last ones we did is like already over 700 views. And of course it was one where Joe wasn't here.
Now.
I think when Joe's not here, we get the most watch.
There it is. Maybe I need to leave.
How dare
Shut
you?
up, Gerry.
So your views
Nobody
went through the roof
watches
for the
at
last
all
3 weeks,
when
right?
Pope is here. They hate the Marine Corps. But I love this show because I like to get together with my veteran buddies and talk about military movies. And this is one of my favorite scenes. It leads to the first bullying of the French musician. When I don't know if that guy, what rank this cocksucker is, that guy right there, fucking grabs his top hat and punches the top out of the hat and hands it back to him.
Nice. Thanks a lot.
He makes fun of the kid, the boy. And I don't know about the French Foreign Legion. I know that the French Foreign Legion, in like my story, which Anima knows this story, is it's an action thriller. And he went in at 17, but he wasn't allowed to be deployed until he was 18, which is the same thing in the U.S. military. You're allowed to be in the military at 17, but you're not allowed to leave this country, be deployed anywhere until you turn 18.
Well, this kid looks like 15 max.
Well,
Way
honey,
too young to be there.
over half the guys I served with look like they just like gone through puberty.
Yeah, come on.
Also, a lot of people, especially back in this era, lied about their age to get into the service.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, my own grandfather was underage when he joined the U.S. Army in World War I. Lied. He was 16, man.
And the funny part is the only ones who actually checked birth certificates was the Marine Corps.
Well, that led to a funny situation with Audie Murphy.
Yep, because he didn't have a birth certificate, so he couldn't join the Marines.
So they wouldn't let him in the Marine Corps. Army took him.
Yeah,
They're like the Catholics. They'll take you when you're warm.
And well, the funny part is we shouldn't have taken him because he was 16 when he joined.
Yep.
Shout out to my buddy
Here's
Mark.
the guy I was talking about. This is the guy that was either in Indiana Jones or in Star Wars. That guy right there. He's German. Germerman. He's Ethel Merman.
And Ariel, the French Foreign Legion has been deployed just about everywhere.
Well, they train. They train in northern Africa.
Yeah, Algeria.
And the Middle East. That's where they do all their training. That's where their training bases are. And I've seen that they train elsewhere because I saw some jungle training too. So I'm guessing somewhere in
probably Southeast Asia.
Southeast Asia. It could be the Philippines. All I know is they do some hardcore training for jungle and desert warfare.
Which the funny part of that story is the U.S. Marines actually had to be told by PETA to stop drinking Cobra blood because we kept training with the Thais.
Yeah.
Then no, I'm not kidding. That actually happened. There's video evidence of it.
Oh, I know. I've actually seen this story on it, and I was like, "Holy shit, fucking Marines!"
Yeah, because of course it's us.
So this is where you really get to see things begin with Catherine Deneuve, and she's a very good actress. This film has so many great names attached to it, and it's a very, even though there's a lot going on, a lot of characters, central core main characters: Terence Hill, Gene Hackman, Max von Sydow, and Catherine Deneuve, and almost Ian Holm, because his character is essential to the story, but he kind of is in and out of the story because he is somebody with a history with Gene Hackman's character, because he has known him for a long time. And they don't tell you everything. And you don't need, and that's what I like. I get tired of modern films. They have to tell you everything about a character. You can go in and fucking form opinions about people with just how they conduct themselves and throw a little history in. You don't have to give us their whole fucking backstory for us to understand what motivates them.
Look at the Dollars trilogy with Clint Eastwood. The guy barely ever speaks. He doesn't need to. You don't even know his name.
You don't know anything about this guy. His past, nothing.
You just know he's there to kick ass and take names.
Yeah, there you go. This is what I do. And so this film kind of follows that. And I love, a lot of the money went into the building of this set, which was to emulate the look of the French Foreign Legion Training Center in Morocco. And this is the other famous uniform that a lot of people don't know is French Foreign Legion. Don't get me wrong. I love the Beau Geste looking uniform, which you see in this film too. But that uniform is fucking handsome. That is a nice.
Does it remind you a lot of the American Civil War uniforms?
Absolutely. And I think it was inspired by specifically the Union Army.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have the Union blue with the red hat, which is Zouaves, if I'm not.
Cannoneers had special hats like that in the U.S. Army. Yeah.
Ariel, as far as I know, they go everywhere.
Yes, they do. They're deployable anywhere outside of France.
Where are they based?
They have a main headquarters in Paris. In fact, that's where you go in. You go to the gate and you knock on the gate to be able to join the French Foreign Legion. That's all required, is that you're able to knock on the fucking gate. Yeah, wolf color is in a minor part in this film. And anybody who knows anything about classic fucking World War II movies, good luck between 1969 through the 80s not seeing fucking wolf. I forgot his last name. Collar. And because he's in Raiders of the Lost Ark, he plays Dietrich in that, the main German officer.
He's brother.
He's not with the Gestapo. He's actually SS, Wehrmacht SS. But he's also in Force 10 from Navarone. Yep. He's the German that confronts them in the supply warehouse, and the British Edward Fox just turns around and flips him off. Which made no sense, because the British wouldn't do that. He would have done this.
Right?
He's even in Wonder Woman.
Take care, Idaho. Nice to meet you, man. Thanks for dropping in.
Idaho.
Hope you sub, man.
Which the funny story is, like, you know the story behind the V, right?
Yeah, it's from the Archers. Under Henry V.
And basically, they would cut these fingers.
They did.
Off
they cut the fingers off of their archer, their draw hand.
Yeah,
and basically, so when the surviving members of the archery team stood up in defiance and held up 2 fingers.
Yep.
As a fuck you to the French.
Upward motion, 2 fingers.
Yep. Or as Shaun of the Dead says, jog on.
Yeah.
Jog on.
Which
jog on.
I love that. Like, half of English culture is literally just to piss off the French.
Everybody thinks the French the English are so like cultured. I'm like, have you ever hung out with a Brit?
Yeah.
There's some of the brawlers, some of the best brawlers I ever met in my life were fucking English.
Right.
You know,
having served alongside
Scottish aren't the only
Royal
brawlers in England or Great Britain. The fucking people from the East End of London, Newcastle, fuck man, tough guys.
Having
But
served
here we go
alongside
again.
the Royal Army.
This
those
is
guys do
the
not give a
second.
shit.
This is the second bullying done to the Frenchman here, which he, and I'm supposing that he's supposed to be Belgian. Anyway, he is given the wrong size boots. I cannot wear these boots. They do not fit
And
my
then
feet.
he's told to march without boots if he can't do.
The guy
the
throws them into the sand dune.
Yeah.
This is then march without them.
Yeah, it's
brutal what's done to this guy. And finally, the last straw for this guy is when he tries to go to have sex with a prostitute and he can't get it up. And he's so threatened by everything. He's just a nerd that just can't make it. And in the end, he hangs himself. And he's such a tragic character. Yep. And I love it when they are out for formation and Hackman's like, where's you're missing a man, you know? And he says he cannot join us.
No, he asks where he is, and basically he's inside. And he goes in and finds him.
They had dressed him back in his civilian tuxedo and the top hat with his hands like this on his chest. It's a fucking emotional movie.
I like to know the backstory of that guy because he clearly joined with the attire of the orchestra in which he was playing. What happened?
Also, I'm going to point out too, if you ever see the movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme called Legionnaire, you will see a lot of correlations between that story and this one. And I don't think that's accidental because I know the director of that and the writer-director, and I think he stole from this movie for that film. Yeah, we are getting ready to watch that, by the way, Gambit Beaugest. I like the silent film that's with Douglas Fairbanks, but I really do, and I haven't seen it since I was a kid, the version with Gerry Cooper, and I'm looking forward to watching that. We'll probably do that on a Monday coming up here soon. I think it's 26, the silent film. What's funny is the 1960 one was the last proper remake, but right after that, they made a comedy called The Last Remake of Beaugest with Marty Feldman, and it's a really fucking goofy movie. This is where you meet this fucking asshole. I don't like this guy, and I'm glad Terence Hill grabs him by his face and shoves him backward at the end, because he offers him safe passage back to France. He goes, get fucked. He just throws him back by his face. Fucking good scene. Because Bugeaud wants him to come back to France with her, but he's a legionnaire. He basically becomes Gene Hackman at the end of the film. Wait, what? Not only that, but Gerry Cooper and William Powell star in the 1929 adaptation of the same novel. Huh. Wait.
Was Gerry Cooper even in acting in 1929?
I don't think so.
He would have
I don't think. Yeah, but I'm going to have to look into that. It's not that I don't believe you. It's just I don't think he was acting yet.
Yeah, he was. He would have been like 15.
Gerry, did you hear about how Joe got grounded by his mom for staying up too late? So now he has to be in bed before 8 p.m.
What?
Guys are assholes. I'm not going to sit here from 10 to midnight and yell next to my mother's room. I'm being nice to my mother. You guys are dickheads. for spreading false information.
First time I met Joe's wife,
You
I
know?
said, "Hey Joe, who's the crazy blue-haired bitch in the background?"
Oh yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
Now, Joe, there's another option.
Okay.
Give your mom a video games console, and in a week she will be the one yelling to the game.
Right? No.
Look at him
No.
there. Look at Terence there. There's no way he's almost 40 years old. Any
Yeah.
ideas?
He doesn't look it.
No.
I mean, hell, I look older than him, and I'm only 38.
So this is a love triangle story. Both Gene Hackman, in his own way, is in love with her. Same woman. She's in love with Gene Hackman's character, but she's also madly in love, passionately in love with Terence Hill's character. Marco is his name in the film. This is one of my favorite images here, and it is an image that is painted by Drew Struzan in the poster art. And you've got to find the right one. No, I need to go find it real quick here. Because the full painting is actually on black. And Drew Struzan added that image into his poster. Let's see.
Oh, and oh yeah, 1939 makes a lot more sense than 1929.
Oh yeah, 39. Yeah. Open image. There, now we can see it.
Right, Ariel?
Pull the video down, Martin.
Joe's.
Just for a second, I need to share this. This is
Wait. There you go.
So if you look here at the bottom of the image here, you can see that shot is in the painting that Drew did for the movie. And he was already doing things. It's tomfoolery, because you have the heroic poses here of the two leads in the film, but they needed to get Genevieve Bujold in there. And so what they did was they put a man's hand on the back of her neck to make it look like he's got his hand behind her neck. And that photo was never taken. That is something that Drew started doing. That is, I'm going to tell you right now, that is most likely Drew's hand. And I would even venture to say that it is clearly not part of it, because if you look at the size of that hand compared to the size of her face, it's too big. She looks like a child to that hand. But still, again, see these lines here? These highlight lines? You see them here, see it right here. That's Leidendecker's style of highlighting that Drew Struzan mastered in his paintings. Did it here. And that's what got him well known, is his ability to do that. He understood what Leidendecker did. So there we go. Back to the movie. Now, the thing that sucks here is the officers and NCOs, they get to wear the white uniform, while these poor schmucks walking around in the sand that are training are wearing the darker uniform in that fucking Saharan heat. You don't want to wear dark in that.
Mm-mm.
All of it is designed just because this is still the mentality of military training to this day, is to break you down, to build you back up as a warrior.
Absolutely.
And one of the first things they do in the military is to get your mind off of the girl back home. And so the first thing they do is they start telling you, oh, she's already banging Jody.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Remember your best friend?
He's
He's sticking his dick in your girlfriend right now. They get in your fucking head.
Big time.
And there's Non again from Superman. And I like his character in the film. Yeah, down there. Don't push. I'm not. I'm guiding. No, I think that during training, making them wear those dark was part of the breaking them down thing.
Well, and
Because
part of
when
it
you're
too
wearing
is
dark in that kind of heat, and that's wool, by the way.
yeah. And as someone who has actually been out in not the desert like that, but like a summer funeral in full dress blues, and we still wear that high collared blue wool.
You are going to lose weight.
You will sweat the shit out of out of that ceremony, especially one of the ones I did. It lasted 2.5 hours, and we were sitting there the whole time.
How do you not pass out?
You just drink water beforehand, and otherwise it's just discipline.
So I will tell you that when this film got released to the U.S. and it was on television, that's the version that I saw. I didn't see it until it came out on TV. So in the television version, several scenes were used that were not included in the theatrical or DVD versions, video DVD versions. One pivotal extra scene occurs after the excavation work has commenced, and two of the Legionnaires, both of them German recruits, are found to have deserted. The sadistic second in command of the company, Fontaine, the asshole that punched out the guy's hat and threw his boots into the dunes, and his equally vicious crony, the corporal, lead a patrol to capture them. They catch up with the two Germans, and Fontaine orders the patrol to shoot them. The noise attracts the large group of Bedouin tribesmen, and disregarding the warnings from the men, Fontaine orders his men to open fire, igniting a battle. The corporal is shot dead, and Fontaine breaks down in fear and kills himself. That's why he disappears in the movie. You don't see him anymore after they get into the desert. He just sort of disappears. So Marco displays his courage and natural flair for leadership by rallying the survivors of the patrol and successfully beating off the attackers. Oh, gross. He beat them off.
Freezing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freezing.
In the video release, that scene was omitted, but brief shots of Fontaine and the corporal were taken from other previous scenes and edited into the climactic battle at the dig site, because that's where the battle takes place, is where the archaeological dig is at, and shows them die there. But that's not what happened. They died in a previous scene because they disregarded safety. Let's see. Production was Dick Richards was interested, or had been interested for a while, in doing a French Foreign Legion film, ever since he had found out that a friend of his uncle's had joined the French Foreign Legion. Most of the finance was provided by Lou Grade, as I told you, from ITC Company, on the basis of Terence Hill's popularity. It was Hill's second film aimed at the American market, because the other one was with Henry Fonda. Gene Hackman was injured during filming after he was thrown off a horse, which he is, by the way, quite a good horseman. This injury caused filming to be suspended until he was able to recover. Columbia Pictures agreed to distribute into the U.S. because it wanted distribution of Grade's The Eagle Has Landed, which is a film we did a few weeks back. In most markets, March or Die played in theaters in a double bill with Eagle, another film that we've never discussed here. This torture scene is really good, because he's already been out there for hours, and they're like, how long is he got to be here? And he goes, oh, he needs to be there for another 8 hours. So when she goes up and gives him water, that forces Hackman's hand to release him.
He does not want to piss her off. But yeah, that's brutal to tie him up like that.
And again, you know, this is one of those films that hired non-Arab or Middle Eastern actors to play Middle Easterns. We've seen that before. Don't get me wrong, I still like it. I like Ian Holman's part, but he is clearly not an Arab.
Yeah, and they wouldn't
Go
really start
go
doing
beat
that.
off his attackers. Beat them off good.
Like they wouldn't really start using regionally correct actors until the 80s for a lot of stuff.
Seventh Seal is really a great film with him, but my favorite role that Max von Sydow did with Ingmar Bergman is The Fountain. What was it called? Oh my God, I forgot the name of it. And it is basically the story of The Last House on the Left.
Like The Fountainhead, maybe?
That's it, The Fountainhead. Thank you. And that movie is the story of a bunch of ruffians killing this family's daughter. And then they seek to take, what's the word I'm looking for, where they want to lodging
Refuge.
at their house. And then the father finds out who they are and what they did and plans to avenge himself on them. And that was the original story. And then later, Craven took that story and turned it into Last House on the Left.
Wow.
Which is, in my opinion, the original film, the better of the films, but goddamn, that's a violent film.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Last House on the Left? Yeah. Just a little.
So, but I'm a fan of his work with Bergman, too. They could do a remake and use English people as the Arabs, and no one could tell the difference. Don't know what that means, but okay.
Oh, I know
Well,
what
is that?
I know what it means. And he's
Yeah, me too.
absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yes. All right.
New English.
The New England. I remember I got a dirty look from my dad when I was a kid, and we were at a tea house in London to get some tea, and I wanted a proper spot. And I got to ask that question, would you care for a spot of tea? And I said, no, I'd prefer a whole cup. Thank you. And but when the waiter walked up, this guy was clearly from India. Like he had the thick Indian accent. And he says, is there anything I can do for you or get you? And I said, yeah, an English waiter. Like I want an English waiter.
Oh, man.
Dad just shot me.
Damn, bro.
Shot daggers at me. I didn't think of, I was a dumb kid. And but I wanted a fucking Englishman to fucking serve me my fucking tea.
Not wrong.
But he said to me, he says, I'm English. And I'm like, you're not understanding me. There's a breakdown in our communication here. I want someone to properly speak to me with a posh English accent. Hell, I'd fucking take East End, London stand. By the way, Martin hates that because he feels we're racist. Martin doesn't like that.
I was fixing to say he needs that clip of that little black kid going, "That's racist," right?
Wait,
and
I have another.
I was fixing to say you gotta have a clip for that. You gotta have a clip.
No, I have this one. No, what I have is this one.
Luis, una chingada, vámonos, cabrón. Es el procedimiento. A la chingada, el procedimiento, cabrón, vámonos.
I recorded that from the movie.
Luis, una chingada, vámonos, cabrón. Es el procedimiento. A la chingada, el procedimiento.
Oh, you got it on repeat. You got to turn that shit off.
Oh.
It's just.
I made you record this when we watched it.
That's perfect for Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
Perfection.
Allegedly.
Perfection. Allegedly.
Oh man, that's too good.
By the way, does anybody recognize
Here's your
this guy?
potential LZs. Marines at the embassy advise we can gain entrance through the back way.
Mace Windu?
That's Tackleberry.
It's Tackleberry. Bigger than hell.
The gun nut from
Police Academy. Yeah.
And this, I got to tell you, I think this would have been a fun barracks to live in, because there's going to be a lot of fucking around in that fucking thing. A lot of fucking fights, play fights, because you know what I'm talking about. It's a game in the U.S. Army we call Fuck Joe. That's where you walk up behind somebody and you say their name and you hit them with one of those military Department of Defense pillows, which weighs about 50 pounds. And it's like real feathers, but it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable, but it makes a hell of a weapon. And it's called Fuck Joe. And it's a barracks wide fucking play fight. And I had this little Mexican guy climb up on one of the bunks and got behind me. And I walked in like, what the hell's going on here? And I hear this behind me. And I look up just to see this Mexican kid coming at me like some sort of like battle with two knives in both his hands, but his hands are empty, coming at me to jump on me. And he hit me. And I'm serious. This is what happened. I went, when he landed on me, he's hanging off of me like King Kong in the Empire State Building. And he looks at me and I just looked him in the eyes and he goes, oh shit. And I grabbed him by the back of his blouse and I lifted him off of me, over me, and then onto the bunk. What I didn't take into consideration when I did this is those springs, the chain springs.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking hit the top bunk and went flying up the other side. And it went, fuck! The guy was like, I was afraid I killed this guy. And he got up and he did that classic thing that Zoe would do. I'm okay.
Okay, I posted here because here's when the kid finds the musician.
Oh my God, yeah. He's looking up at him and he just starts yelling, no, no. And then everybody comes back and sees. Oh God, it's such a heart-wrenching scene. And the guy is a really good actor.
Yeah.
Every single actor in this fucking movie is top level actor. There's not one weak performance in this film by anybody. And that's just hard to find in one of these technically indie films.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those late 70s, early 80s military movies where everyone in it is famous because they're brilliant actors.
Well, Del Dye told me a long time ago when we were looking to cast the film that we're going to do called City of Fire, which is the name I gave Mosul in our story. And there he is. There's the German again. I can't remember, Raiders or Empire. It seems like it was one of the Indiana Jones films. Oh, yeah, there it is. He's inside, sir. And then he goes in there and finds him dead. He comes back out, mounts his horse, goes up and down the line, and then tells him to bury him in his uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just too much, man. He got bullied so badly in this film. More than, because everybody gets kind of bullied in the military by senior cadre. Yeah. Because that's their job, is to fuck with you. But
it's not personal. It's your turn.
Yeah. With him, though, it got too personal. From the, fucking punching his hat to fucking throwing his boots in the sand, making him march barefoot, to just, that hooker takes him in the back and he can't get it up and she comes out and mocks him and everybody laughs at him. And that was it. That was the bridge too far for his character. He couldn't take it anymore.
So there's
now they were attacking his manhood.
There's a lot of parallels between him and Gomer Pyle from Full Metal Jacket. He just breaks at a certain point and not in the way that they want.
Yep. Even though Gunny Hartman really liked the improvements of Private Pyle.
He is still one of the best casting choices I think Hollywood's ever made.
Oh, yeah. The casting in that film was incredible. And I hated that son of a bitch that plays the general, where they're burying the bodies with all that lime.
Yep.
And that general walks up to Private Joker. Says, what is that on your helmet? It's a peace sign. And he says, son, you better get with the program. Because he says, what is that supposed to mean? I think it's supposed to mean the duality of war. It's a union thing.
I like that, yeah.
General, Marine General, Jesus Christ, you're asking to get your ass handed to you. Mm-hmm. Better uninsert your head from your ass. Get with the program, son. And by the way, one of the best characters in this film is the character who is the quietest in the film, is the sergeant.
And Snorty, I can personally attest that, yes, the Marine Corps still trains men like that, and we do not give a shit about people's feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, it's not like the Marine Corps, because your boot is like longer than ours. Ours is 8 weeks. Yours is like 10 weeks, I think.
12.
10 to 12 weeks. Yeah, 12 weeks. That's a long fucking boot. And
you can tell from minute one, because like everybody else, like I've seen video of everybody else's introduction to their drill instructor. And, it's a very professional, very like, we are your drill instructors, here, your drill sergeants, here's what we do. The Marine Corps, they come out that double hatch at the end of the squad base fucking screaming.
Oh, yeah. And I got to tell you, it's called the shark frenzy. And like in the Army, the minute you show up in that cattle car and you see all of the senior cadre right outside the truck, they're running up, get off my truck, get off. And this one kid, his name was Condon. I found out his name while we were in the truck. He says, yeah. I said, what's your last name? He goes, Condon, which I've heard that name before. It's in New York, popular in New York, upstate New York. And I looked at him, I said, you need to stay the fuck away from me. And he goes, why? I said, because you're fucked with that last name. I'm telling you now. I don't want to be anywhere near you because they're going to fuck with you. And he didn't listen to me as you're supposed to pile out of that fucking truck. He stops and grabs the handle. It looks like a dancer pole in the middle of the doorway where you can come down both sides. He grabs it to step down because he's a short guy, okay? And Drill Sergeant Marititi fucking sees this and his eyes go huge. I'm watching everything. And I'm watching this unfold in front of me, and I'm like, oh, here it begins. I said, get off my fucking truck. And he stops for a split second because he realizes the drill sergeant's talking to him, yelling at him. And he stops, and I'm like, oh, my God, this guy's a fucking idiot. And he owned that guy for the rest of the fucking day. And he, of course, got called prophylactic because his name is Condon.
We had one worse. I had an Asian guy. We had an Asian guy whose last name was Dong.
Oh man, yeah, stay the fuck away from that guy.
He did not have a fun time.
And what's funny is like during the whole day, because you got to go people never think about this in the military, and I'm certain it's the same thing in the Marine Corps. That the first thing you fucking do is fill out paperwork and sign a bunch of shit.
Yep. In fact, when you get to Paris Island,
you're in these fucking rooms with the NCOs walking around fucking with you while you're supposed to be filling out this, like if you die, who gets your shit, all of that stuff.
That was that is your first 36 hours in the Marine Corps, is filling out
absolutely same thing in the Army, man. And NCOs over top of you, fucking yelling at you with their little Smokey the Bear hats, hitting you with the brim of their fucking hat while they're talking
every chance they get.
You can hear it when they do
when
it.
They pop you off the truck at McClellan. We
and then you hear Marititi go, "Where's my girlfriend?" And you see Condon in the back. Here, Drill Sergeant. He called him his girlfriend for like the first week. Like, you're gonna fucking marry me by the end of this. Oh my God, that was a funny fucking week, man. Nobody fucked with me. Not one fucking drill sergeant fucked with me. And what I found out was that my dad had raised me like I was in the military. So that shit was like nothing to me. I knew how to do all of that. I knew how to dress and formation, knew all that stuff. I knew how to dress my footlocker. My footlocker was the best. In fact, I remember senior drill instructor called everybody into my room. We had private rooms on one end of the barracks. This is where originally the senior cadre lived. When they lived with you, they had those last 4 rooms in the barracks. And so squad leaders, we got those rooms. And he called everybody to come in and look at my fucking footlocker. And I'm like, oh my God, did I fuck something up? Did I do something wrong? And he goes, this is how every locker needs to look. And I went, oh, thank God. I was like, man, I was afraid I was going to be doing push-ups till I died. So, but anyway, getting back to the movie. I love this location, and I do believe they shot this in Morocco. Part of this. It was either that or Spain.
No. Well, they were filming there.
Oh, Martin, please tell us where it was shot instead of offering up the information. Contradict me.
God damn it, let me speak, you woman.
No, I won't.
So,
you don't give this information freely. So I've got to make
Please don't
suffer
fight,
for
Mom
it.
and Dad.
How dare you?
Hackman was injured. He injured his back, so they have to get back to the States. And what they did was import a huge amount of that sand to cover the dunes of in the States, so they look the same.
Get the fuck out of here. That's amazing.
Yes, they did that.
Wow.
And I had to say something for you to give this bit of awesome information. Thanks, Martin. You dick.
Oh, you're welcome. I cannot believe
that system probably contains a new data encryption algorithm. You'll never get in there.
Hey, I don't believe that any system is totally secure. I bet you Jim could get in.
Yeah, I bet you couldn't.
I bet you he could.
Well, you'll never get in through the frontline security, but you might look for a back door.
I can't believe it, Jim. That girl's standing over there listening, and you're telling about our back doors?
Mr. Potato Head. Mr. Potato Head, back doors are not secrets.
Eddie Deason is such a fucking asshole. He single-handedly destroyed so many movies.
Whoa, Joe had to go. That was fast.
See you, Joe. He's had enough of our bullshit, Pope.
Thank you, Ariel.
Oh my God,
Yes,
that needs to be his new nickname. Now that you said leave Martin alone, we need to call him Lee Martin.
Yes, Gambit, that's War Games.
It's actually one of my favorite scenes from the movie.
That movie was crazy.
By the way, I have gotten Donald F. Glutt, the guy who wrote the Empire Strikes Back novel, along with a lot of TV shows and movies from the 60s and 70s. He directed the Frankenstein Tales. Came out like 3 years ago. He wrote and directed that. And I've been friends with him for years and got him to agree to come on the show. And the only thing we can't talk about is Star Wars and Star Trek, because of legal issues, he's not allowed to talk about that stuff. That means he won't talk, but I will comment that if not for The Empire Strikes Back, I would have never been made aware of his work. Made a sequel to War Games, a sequel to War Games?
No,
yes, and I remember that. Came out in the 2000s.
Away from that.
It's a terrible film.
Why do people think everything needs a sequel? That's just so wrong.
Money.
Be creative. Tell your own story.
Money. Easy money. That's what they want.
Easy money. Billy Joel. It was the song also for the movie Easy Money with Rodney Dangerfield. So they're out there in the field about to bivouac, and I'm trying to remember because they're out there with the archaeologists now, and this will be the second run-in with his old friend, played by Ian. And things are getting very hot in the old town tonight between the tribes. And by the way, this is something that ties this in with another famous movie about the desert and the Arabs. What movie is that? Do you guys know?
No.
Martin, anybody? Pope,
No.
anybody?
Enlighten us.
Anybody watching the show? Famous movie? Oh, Pope's asleep.
No, it was me, signifying that. Please tell us. I'm waiting.
Thank you. Vince knows Lawrence of Arabia because that's what he did. Lawrence got the tribes to work together, and that is addressed in this film. That this is the outcome of what Lawrence was doing.
Yeah, Vince know. Maybe he knows too much. We have to do something about that.
Yeah, maybe he does know too much. Vince, don't tell us where you live, but tell us where you live.
Without
we need to
telling
send
us.
somebody.
Tell
We're
us
going to
without
send
telling
somebody
us.
there. Nothing bad will happen. It's all good.
That's where they get the kid, right?
So this movie again was directed by a real dick, Dick Richards. I mean, guy's name is fucking Dick.
Yes.
He's a double dick.
But it's Richard Richards. Who does that to their kid? I mean,
I don't know.
What's that called? Alliteration? Fucking. I always hated that about Marvel. At least with DC, it's Clark Kent, but it's a C and a K, right? So technically, it's not an alliteration. But he worked closely with actors like Robert Mitchum, Gene Hackman, Martin Sheen, Blythe Danner, Catherine Deneuve, Alan Arkin, and Wilford Brimley. Diabetes.
The diabetes man.
I hate
that for him because he's such a good actor, and yet he will only ever be remembered for being the diabetes guy.
Yeah, diabetes. So keep that back up there. I was making a joke. So Florence of Arabia is the film about an Arab sheikh's housekeeper who gets angry because she can't get all this dust off of everything in the middle.
One can relate.
She loses her mind and kills everyone.
One can relate. One can never keep their weapon clean in the Middle East. It's just not possible.
It's not possible. The Culpeper Cattle Company is one of his films. Rafferty and the Gold Dust Twins, which is not that great. Farewell, My Lovely, on the other hand, is a film that is, in my opinion, one of the best Philip Marlowe movies ever made. It's a period piece done in, I think, 75 with Robert Mitchum in the titular role. And what's amazing is he's not too old to play Philip Marlowe in this film. He looks right for it. And within a handful of years, like 2 to 3 years, he plays him again, and he looks too fucking old. And they didn't do it as a period piece. So it was very, I didn't like the other film, but that one, Farewell, My Lovely. So that was also directed by Dick Richards. He also directed immediately after that, March or Die. Then he did Tootsie. Got an Oscar. And wait a minute. Yes, he did the Burt Reynolds movie that came out in 1986, Heat. It's a very good film. And that's it. That's his career.
There's the kid.
He's dead. And this is where you really get to know Marcos, because this guy is lifting his head up, fucking with him, poking and prodding this dead kid, and spits in the kid's face. And Marco fucking shoots this guy right in the fucking head. About starts a war right here.
And Hackman says one of my men got nervous, because that's what the other dude said as an excuse to why they took the kid. My man got nervous. But yeah, Terence Hill's character, he likes the kid. He shoots for him because the kid is not admitting to his bad eyesight, not wearing his glasses, so he has no chance of ever hitting the target. So he does it for him, pretending he misses his. And the kid got a bullseye. That was sweet.
I want you to look at Ian Holmes' face right here. That's right after he said, what can I say? Our men got a little antsy, a little nervous. It's the same excuse he just used for killing the kid.
Yeah.
And look at those fucking eyes, man. That's piercing. I love that. That guy can give you some fucking stabby eyes, Ian Holm.
Yes, he can.
And then fucking Hackman just rides over next to him and just looks at him. Doesn't say a fucking word. And turns around and goes back. He's like, get back in formation. I also like just showing how well trained these guys are. They don't do anything without command. They've got enemy running at them from every side, and they stand there waiting for their orders. That's fucking control. Not going to lose their shit. They're not going to panic. Yeah, I fucking love that. This is my favorite French Foreign Legion film. And I've seen all of them. In fact, one of my other favorite French Foreign Legion films is the film Savior, which we've done on here with Dennis Quaid. No, he's French Foreign Legion. He would not be riding a camel. He would be riding a horse.
Yeah, I found that weird.
And I personally feel bad for horses in the desert. They're not designed for the desert.
No, they're not. Although specific breeds of them do
there
really
are
well there.
Arabian horses, so I think it's not too far-fetched.
They do well there. It's just they're not built for it. They have to be bred to thrive in that environment.
Now, what other Max von Sydow archaeologist scene does this remind you of? Especially when we get this next shot where we're looking down at him from above, inside this little
the Omen?
cyst. No, Max von Sydow. That was Gregory Peck. Max von Sydow film. You're close. It's the 70s. It's like the Halloween theme. It's called The Exorcist.
Oh, right. Shit, I forgot he was in that.
Yep, he's Father Marin. And by the way, a lot of people don't know this about him. He looked forward to playing religious leaders in films and playing Jesus because he was a devoutly Christian. But he was a Calvinist because of where he's from.
Explains why he played Skeletor so well.
Oh,
that's not Max von Sydow.
Yes, it is.
No, it's Frank Langella.
Oh, no, yeah, sorry, you're right.
Shut the fuck up, Pope.
No, I forgot. See, your stream in 70s cross at some points, and
you cross the streams, never cross the streams.
Yeah, no, dude.
Okay. Thanks for the safety tip, Egon. I do not like camels. I don't like them. Because
they're
of that
assholes.
Shit. They are. Anybody who's ever been in the Middle East will tell you fucking camels are nasty. They don't smell good. They smell awful. And they got terrible breath. And on top of that, they spit and they bite.
They're mean.
Hey,
It's
Mike.
just a
Hey, Mike.
it's just a decade, Ariel. Hi, Mikey.
Hey, Mike. He looks so good in this uniform.
By the way, guys, I'm going to be starting a new show on Saturday nights after Anima goes to bed called Saturday Night Creature Feature, where we're going to watch public domain sci-fi horror films.
Oh,
When did you decide that? That's the first time I hear of it.
Yeah, you got to read what's in the group chat, honey. You can't just like, oh, somebody said something. It's not important.
I've been in the group chat this morning. There was nothing in there about
Not
doing
this
a
morning.
new show.
I brought it up to Martin. Martin didn't respond to it.
I haven't. I couldn't.
You know this awesome thing where we actually talk to each other?
I haven't seen my messages in the whole weekend. It's long story.
And then he says it, and it's like, oh, I guess it's not a long story. I guess it was just this one thing.
And, I do my best, Mike, to, be everyone's pet Sasquatch.
So here's this will be the first one right there. You can, as soon as you drop, there we go. Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, Horror Express.
Old school Hammer horror. Gotta love it.
That's the one I'm going to launch the show with. Saturday Night Creature Feature. I'll be drawing and talking, and we can watch a movie together. I will interrupt the film probably only a handful of times because I probably won't talk much during the movie. This is so good what happens here, because this is where we learn what it's really all about. Because the whole reason why their feathers are up, the Arab feathers are up, is because how dare you French archaeologists come here and dig up our things, which is funny to me because so often in those Arab countries, they don't really like the past. And they tend to destroy shit, some of these Islamist types.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Taliban were
And
famous
so-
for blowing up Buddhist statues and stuff that exist in Afghanistan for thousands of years.
Oh, yeah. Thousands of years, they don't care. Topple them, cut their faces off. And this has been going on for a long time. That shit happened in Egypt.
And there were temples in Afghanistan.
They would deface temples. Yeah.
There were temples in Afghanistan from Alexander's conquest, which is 2,500 years ago, that they tried to blow up.
That's ISIL. Yep.
Well,
was
you
the
still have a horde of lunatics tearing down statues, so you're not so far away.
Fair.
Yep. So, and what Gene Hackman does here is he takes this casket with the artwork on it and takes it away from the archaeologists, leaves them down in the pit, and takes this artifact to the Arabs and says, "This is our gift to you." And they don't care. They're there for something else. They want a war. They're looking for a war. And so Gene Hackman now
Arabs looking
understands.
for a fight? That never happens.
Yeah, no way. Get out of here. Get a job. No way. So we find out that basically this is
bombing some of them right now because they can't stop touching people's boats.
what is that great line from a Marine? I think it was a Marine. No, it might have been a Army. He says, "We're surrounded." Great. Good. We got them right where we want them.
That was actually General Smith that chose in. The commander of
Chosen
Marines.
Valley, yeah.
It's like, we're surrounded on all sides, sir. It's like, great. The bastards can't get away from us now.
Yeah.
Skin flicks? What?
Ariel, shut up. Shut up. Don't ruin my fucking life.
This is why you never resort to choking as the first, punishment method. Because once Harder Daddy comes out, there's nowhere to go from there.
Oh my God. Ian Holm looks like a really badly made Star Wars action figure.
Yeah, kind
Yes.
of.
Oh my. I know that voice.
Yeah, it's the sound of an annoying cat.
Well, yeah, she's bitching. You've been doing this for 2 hours. Why are you still doing it? Stop it. Play with me.
Which reminds me, by the way, what happened to Hackman in this is the same thing that happened to Harrison Ford riding those elephants. Because riding in the sand, the horse rides different. And it apparently wreaked havoc on his spine the same way with Harrison Ford. Yeah, this is, again, one of those few moments where you see the sergeant actually yelling shit. Because that's all he does. He's either yelling commands for Gene Hackman's character, or he's pleading, finally, with Hackman to give them an order. Because they're all standing around waiting as they're being attacked.
Which is a difference we have with the, other militaries of they'll wait for an order to fire. You shoot at us, we're shooting back immediately. We don't give a shit.
Yeah, these guys are so weapons tight, though, that they don't dare make a move without command. Now, with Marine Corps and U.S. Army both, it's called improvise.
It's what we refer to as default aggression. Of when we don't have orders, we'll just go find something and blow it up.
All we need in the military, those that were in infantry, is a counterman to weapons tight. Because weapons tight, you can't fucking fire. You can't do shit. And that's one thing I always hated about the rules of engagement is too much is in the hands of fucking armchair warriors. And you'll be looking at a guy, and this happened, and we wrote this into our script, City of Fire. I wrote it in there that he's looking at the guy who has just killed guys, and he's walking, and the guy's walking down the street away from him, and he says, "Is he pointing a weapon at you?" And he goes, "No." He goes, "Your weapon's tight. Cease fire."
Fortunately, by 2009, our ROE had changed significantly, especially given my mission in Garmser, where our objective was to push the Taliban out. So it was, does it look hostile? Then shoot it.
Yeah. And that's the way it should be. If somebody looks hostile, if you saw them, they have a weapon, doesn't matter if they shot at you. Yep. If they're in a position where it looks like they're getting ready to do something, that's ROE, man. That's what ROE should be. And it sucks because the problem with the Middle East is like everybody's got a gun over there. They're like Americans, except for less disciplined.
And the best ROE that we had was basically, if you're taking fire from a structure, unless you know for a fact that civilians are in there, well, sucks to be that building.
That scene that we just watched confused me. He starts talking about trenches. You're in the fucking desert. How are you supposed to dig a trench in fucking sand? It's not possible.
You can. It's not easy, but you can.
Way easier to just
absolutely.
Back sand and stack
and what's probably easier to do is to bring burlap sacks with you and fill them with sand and build a wall.
That's what they do.
That's
way more stable.
Yeah. But I'm going to point out that something interesting historically with the United States that a lot of people don't know, that there are camels here in the United States, not just because of farmers that want to raise them and sell them like alpacas. No, there are camels in Arizona because they were brought here as a test for the U.S. cavalry, and it didn't work. And so they began to live in the wild of Arizona. And they still have an annual camel race in Arizona. I went to a few times as a kid. And that's why, by the way, there's a mountain area in the middle of Phoenix called Camelback Mountains. How come you had to screw them out of jobs? I blame Gerry because I know it was him. It's always me. It's always me. I'm the reason why they went from being the cavalry to the air cav. Because I said, aren't helicopters the new horses?
Well, one of the funniest things I've ever heard is the interwar period when the cavalry were still, in charge, because you had a lot of guys who were senior officers now who grew up in the horse cavalry. In 1938, they were trying to figure out modern uses for the cavalry, and they actually had to design a horse trailer that could get towed behind a deuce and a half because the horses couldn't keep up with the army otherwise. So rather than admit that horses were no longer useful on the battlefield, they designed a horse trailer to get dragged behind a truck because army.
Yep. By the way, I do want to tell you, Snort, don't ever rely on that because they may have been issued a single round and it's already loaded in the breech. And by the way, biggest fear with me with the M16, don't know about you with what you were issued at M4, M16, what have you, breech override. Because it's a real thing with the M16 body. And that when M4 had it too, same body. And that breech override, scary shit.
It can be. We never really used it all that much. Like that forward assist is just there for show, basically. We've never had it happen. But will happen.
Forward assist is what made the difference in the M16 and the M16A1.
Yep.
M16A2 was a change in the selector switch.
Yeah, because they went from full auto to
pew to from pew to no pew to pew 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 pew. And then A2 did the 3-shot burst.
The M16 with the 3-shot burst is the worst fucking weapon I've ever fired.
It's dumb. Nobody uses a 3-shot burst. You have better control if you do the controlled 3-shot burst yourself.
And the funny part is, they had us fire in training. They had us fire our weapons on burst to basically demonstrate why you should never ever use that setting, and it's horrible.
And by the way, the forward assist is that weird thing you see on the back of the M16 that looks like a pump that you're to power up the M16 with. It looks like a little pump. Yeah. It's actually there if you get a breech override to force eject.
Yeah, to force the weapon into battery, and that is never a good idea. If the round is not chambering correctly, there's a reason for that, and you probably shouldn't be shooting that weapon.
In the battle scenes, the Legionnaires used British Lewis gun, a German Maxim MG08, and an Austro-Hungarian Skoda Model 15 mountain gun cannon. The post-war French army in North Africa, you get what you stole.
Pretty much. Although they are using
the French Foreign Legion was like any other military. If you see something good, take it.
Yeah, although they are using labels, which is accurate for that time. Despite how much I hate that rifle.
Wow,
okay,
Gerry,
for today, I'm going to let you know. Yes, I'm looking at all these comments, and I think the comment of the day is a tie between these two right here. Air cavalry, you can train horses to fly. Well, we do have horse flies. There you go. Best comments of the day. Bill Barkley brought up Thunderbolts. I've not watched it yet. I don't know. I know that a handful of my friends liked it and a handful didn't. And so I've got to basically go, is it worth my time? And I'll finally sit down and watch it. I'm going to watch it without Anima because I'm not going to force her to watch something that might suck.
So I'll put it
might
this way.
Suck.
Is it Marvel after like 2016? Yeah, it's not worth the time.
Yeah, 2019 is actually the cutoff for me. 2019 is where I didn't like Endgame very much, but it was still good. It was all the fucking woke shit that got thrown in there, like the A-team, the girl team, girl power.
Yeah,
that was so goofy. I remember auditory. You could hear it in the theater. People go, oh, like that. You can hear people, oh, the cringe of the girl team was so fucking stupid. And that's when it began to fall apart. And Kevin Feige admitting to this doesn't mean shit to me. And here we go. He's got that fucking revolver there. And they're in the middle of this battle. And you know
You are
that when they
dropping a
go
lot
out,
of F-bombs today, Gerry.
when you see Catherine Deneuve watching them leave, you know one of them's not coming back. She's going to have to pick. And what's her choice? I'm going back to France. Is what her choice is. And she wants Marco to go with her. So she hires that fucking piece of shit French guy that owns the Rick's Cafe and the version of Rick's Cafe and this, who's going to pay to get him back to France. And
she's going to pay him for that.
Yeah.
He only hints at it, but it's clear what he wants from her.
Yeah.
For doing that. And that's
Payment
why
in
Marco
spice.
pushes him in the wall.
Grabs him by his face and just shoves
Yeah.
him back into the wall. Now I'm like, fuck yeah. That's like, get fucked, is what that
You don't
is.
use that woman like that.
Pour les Belges on the Rhine, only the Belgians get nothing. That was the line in the Legionnaire marching song. It's a good one. Thanks, Tom.
That's
I
not
like
the correct
this.
translation, though.
This was Rambo before Rambo, right there. Fucking him holding up that Maxim. That's the Maxim, right?
No, that's a Lewis gun.
Cup fed. That's a Lewis. Okay.
I still want one so bad. There's
That's
such
Rambo.
nice guns.
That fight is insane.
Oh, this is the scene where he bayonets the guy and shoots him off the end of his bayonet.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I fucking love that. I also love that they didn't get a command. They fixed bayonets without a command. They just knew. Yeah, this is going to get close, guys. It's going to get hairy. And then you see what a good shot he is. He nails all these guys, but he takes too long to shoot that last guy. And that's right there. That's when Gene Hackman gets nailed and dies. You see him lie back, stretch, and then just falls back dead. Which I thought was a touch of realism to what happens to people when they die. There's often this last body straining to stay alive. And they'll do this arch thing when they die. It's disturbing to see.
Yes, Lord.
Yeah, she's a beautiful French woman. I'm sure she'll find somebody in Paris.
She'll be okay.
He tells her that he can't go. He needs to stay and she needs to live.
Hold on. Did you see that?
What?
All those fucking dead bodies. I keep going back to it. That. All the dead bodies on those in the sand. Dead Legionnaires, dead Arabs. But the fight's over because Gene Hackman's dead. And he ends the battle. Ian Holm does and goes over and, like a good Frenchman, kisses him on both cheeks. Even though I don't know, Tom, what do you think? Did Ian Holm do a good Belgian accent in Greystoke, The Legend of Tarzan? Because he just sounded like your typical French accent from an English actor. Okay. Immediately when I saw that scene, the first thing that you would say as someone in the U.S. military is when you see somebody standing there outside in a military situation, combat situation, and they don't have headgear on, you ask them, "Where's your fucking headgear?" Right there. Where's your headgear?
Yeah, where's your cover, asshole?
Where's your cover? I love that. Cover and headgear is like such a great way. The military doesn't want to say hat.
Right?
Or cap. It's headgear or cover.
And
we've already done Greystoke, but I would like to revisit that film again because that's a film I like to just go back to now and again. I just love that movie.
And I don't know if this is true in the Army, but in the Marine Corps, if you're outside without a cover, they will make you put your hand over your head like this until you go get your cover.
You might also get dropped.
Oh, you're going to get dropped. It's just a matter of they're going to make you go get your cover first.
And in the military, there's no such thing as drop and give me 20. It is drop and beat your face.
Yeah, it's just
they don't give you a number. You're going to do push-ups until they're done with you.
It's like you're going to push until I get tired.
Yep, that's exactly what they say. And they'll do this shit to you too. They go, arms getting weak, you getting tired, roll over, do sit-ups. Then you do sit-ups. Tummy hurting, roll over, do more push-ups. I got smoked so bad one day for somebody else, not me, because I thought because I was drill sergeant's favorite that nobody would fuck with me. But our senior, our first sergeant, he fucking heard me, and he did not have the love for me that my drill instructor had. And I said, if you're going to drop, then you're going to have to drop me. And he goes, oh. And he said it just like you. Oh. He made them sit down, and he smoked me on a hill. Yeah. He made me do push-ups and set-ups against the hill. And it was so bad they had to carry me inside. I couldn't walk. I was going to let him beat me. I did it till my body collapsed.
The worst was always, good, get on your face right now. Get on your feet right now. Get on your face right now. Repeat ad nauseum.
Yep. Roll over. Yeah, Gandhi 2 should have been remade, and I think Sean Connery should have played Gandhi.
with the right headpiece.
Well, yeah, he's bald.
Well, I mean,
technically, it's a headpiece.
I mean, he would have been perfect for some of the role. He knows how to beat women correctly.
Sometimes a woman just needs a good schmacking. That's what he said. So she won't even look down at him at first. And then she finally turns and looks at him. He can't leave. This is his life now. He's officially moving into the position of becoming Gene Hackman's character. Gandhi 2 Nuclear Man.
Oh God, Nuclear Gandhi is one of the
Lord Gandhi
is one of the best pre-internet memes of all time.
Oh, Gandhi 2 Sick and Tired. Guess I'm so lucky. Yeah, UHF. That's right. UHF has that in there. And I love this when the sergeant looks at him and he smiles. And the only thing that you're not understanding here is, did he receive like a field commission?
Yeah, you would think that until a new officers arrive, the sergeant should be the one in charge.
The sergeant would be the one usually doing that. So, like, did he receive a field commission? It's like, how is he doing this? Doesn't matter. It's fucking awesome. I love this movie.
Well, and a lot of that too is like you say, field commission of, I need a new lieutenant. You're it.
Yep. That's how so many NCOs ended up becoming officers out in the field.
That's how I got made a team leader. Is, hey, I need a new team leader. You're it until you suck.
You're it until you either die or I find somebody better.
Yeah, and so it's just like, oh, okay.
I just love this movie.
I believe my actual words were, I'm a machine gunner, right?
Yeah, you mounted a 240, right?
Yep. Best goddamn machine gun ever.
That is, yep. I thought that was like fake. I didn't think it was a real thing until I saw a video, because I'd never seen one. I've never seen one until I watched a video one day, and I'm like, that fucking thing really exists.
No, yeah,
It's Marine's best friend.
I mean, it's the M60, but better.
Yeah, it's like pretend it's an M60 that really fucking works.
Yeah, that actually runs most of the time.
Yep.
It's like, don't get me wrong, I love the M60, but that thing breaks down a lot.
Well, it's got a problem on the loading. It's like if you do one thing wrong, you're going to have fucking problems because that one forward part, not the assist itself, but the forward part where the barrel touches it. If it is not fucking making contact with it, you're going to get a misfire. And you're like, what the fuck's wrong? And you recharge it. You're just going to keep putting in there. It's not aligned correctly. And you got to go back and you got to lift it up and then make sure that it's adjusted into that position.
And the funny part is the Belgians fixed that with the 240, or what turned into the M240 in 1959 with the FN Mag.
It's a fucking awesome weapon.
It's the exact same mechanism, really, just better.
And I prefer, by the way, Sean Connery without the shaved eyebrows. Because early in his career, he was made to shave his eyebrows, trim them. And once he stopped doing that and letting them grow fucking angry looking, Sean Connery got more interesting looking. Where it's basically Custer's Last Stand. Those are my favorite kinds of films. I like the story, the true story, Hal Moore's story of
the Battle of Yadrang,
Yadrang, and it was the first real test of the cavalry and the tip of the spear in combat in Vietnam, and technically we got our asses handed to us, but we survived it, and I do like that movie. We were soldiers.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what happens.
We were soldiers once and young is the original title, but they shortened it for the movie.
It's like that's what happens when you send in a battalion against what ended up being an entire division. You're going to lose.
Yeah, they were hiding underground, so you don't know their numbers. Imagine that being effective in combat and stuff.
My personal favorite example of that is when the Chinese army came across the Yalu River in 1950 on Christmas Day and ran headfirst into 1st, 5th, and 7th Marines at Chosin, led by Chesty Puller himself. Yes, they lost a lot of guys that day.
What are the two names that every Marine knows?
Yep.
What's the other one?
Dan Daly.
Goddamn right.
And John Basil.
He stood that wall by himself and killed hundreds in China during the Boxer Rebellion.
And then is responsible for one of the greatest quotes in military history. Come on, you sons of bitches.
And they say it wrong. And they say it wrong every single time. And I've talked to Dale Dye about this. I said, if you look at the way he said that, he's telling them, do you want to live forever? This is how you do it. You may die here, but you will be remembered forever, is what that line meant.
Yep.
Sam Elliott is great. By the way, he's also another Army vet.
Yeah, Sam Elliott was born to play Westerns. I'm fully convinced of this.
And by the way, the thing that bothered me about that movie, but I understood why they did it the way they did. They shot it in a way that felt more up close and personal, which made it feel like a Western. We Were Soldiers. Feels more like a Western, but that's what they wanted. They wanted to feel like the Battle of Little Bighorn.
Well, and also that's how the Viet Cong fought, was right up in your face, because they even say it in the movie. It's like they know our firepower and our ability to direct it on target, so they had to get close enough so we couldn't use it.
Yeah, that's right. He plays Sheikh Fazuli, and it's one of my favorite lines in that joke, the Sean Connery joke that I wrote, where he plays all these characters. When the line, "Greetings, Shahib. My name is Sheikh Fazuli."
Right.
He goes, "Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Connery, but you still sound Scottish." "Well, of course I am, you shilly git." Well, what made you an Arab? He goes, well, I was wearing a turban.
Guys, I need to
So,
get going.
Charge-
We're way over.
Well, it's not like it's bedtime, for God's sakes.
I have stuff to do, Jesus.
Well, I've got a doctor's appointment. So, yeah. John Wayne made a number of great westerns, namely The Big Trail, Stagecoach, and The Searchers. Searchers is the best film he ever made, him and John Ford. And it's a film he was afraid to do. He didn't think he was right for the part. And ended up, he was the only guy for that part. So, yeah, lots of films were going to be, yeah, Stop Whining, Anima. That's from Mike.
Fuck you, Mike. I love the guy.
What?
So we're going to get out of here because Anima's getting all bitchy and whiny and shit.
That's my cat. My cat is bitchy and whiny.
Don't forget that occasionally, in your mind, this is how you should see Martin. Luscious hair. Look at that hair. It's like that's Jack Lord would be envious of that hair right there. Jack Lord is from Hawaii Five-0, the original chief. There we go. So we're going to get out of here, guys. Another word that Marines don't know, we're going to retreat and end the show.
We're not
Retreat,
retreating.
it just
We're
got
advancing in a
here.
different direction.
Yeah. Advancing in a different direction. That's right. So we're going to get out of here, guys. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. That was fun. I love this movie. I really do. If you've never seen this movie, get a copy. Look for it. Find a copy. Go to Amazon. Do whatever you have to do and watch this movie. It really is worth your time. It's a character. It's a character film. A war film with character. And it's a love triangle between Catherine Deneuve's character and Gene Hackman and the young and pretty Terence Hill. You know the one that she wants to marry, and you know the one she wants to have sex with. But Anima said it too. You know, Gene Hackman's handsome in this movie. She did say that. She's not agreeing with me for some reason, but she did say that. She commented on it. Cheerio, guys and gals. Stay nerdy, everyone. That's right, Vince. And you guys have a great day today, and we will be seeing you guys again real soon. Wednesday. It'll be my last day before my procedure. And I was half tempted not to do it because I don't know how cranky I'm going to be by Wednesday because I'm like on a broth diet. It's like, yeah, that's going to be awesome. So, but we will see you guys again Wednesday. And then depending on the procedure, I'm not sure if I'll be there for Friday. But, I'll see how I feel on Friday. But we'll see you Wednesday, guys. Everybody have a good one. Is the Chief doing a show tomorrow, Martin?
No,
All right,
he can't. But he will be back next week.
That'll be fun. I just want to know if there's a show tomorrow. So our next show then is Wednesday. So we'll see you on Wednesday, guys. Everybody have a great day. Thanks for coming, Pope. Are you going to be joining us again regularly until you find another job?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. I'm looking forward to having you for a little bit. All right, guys. Have a great Monday, and we will see you guys later.
Y'all come back now, you hear?